National statistics have shown a noticeable increase in the cases of suicide across Nigeria. People continue to jump off the Lagos Third Mainland Bridge into the lagoon or ingest sniper, a disinfectant and all-purpose cleaner, turned into a popular and easily available poison to commit suicide. In a country where suicide is erroneously associated with spiritual causes, plus a paucity of psychiatric experts curbing the menace is undoubtedly challenging. In addition to the 703,000 suicides per year, many more people attempt suicide. Every suicide is a tragedy that has a lasting impact on the survivors, including the families, communities, and the entire nation. Suicide is a common cause of mortality that affects people of all ages. It is the fourth largest cause of death worldwide among those aged 15 to 29. This is a global issue that affects all parts of the world, not only high-income nations. In fact, low and middle-income nations such as Nigeria accounted for more than 77% of all suicides worldwide in 2019. The recent deaths of Bimbo Ogbonna, Adetutu Adedokun, and Adedoyin Ayinde are a few cases known to the public due to their widely publicized deaths. On Panorama Today, coming to you live from the Lagos Network Center of the Nigerian Television Authority, we shall be focusing our attention on these questions. Why is suicide becoming more common in Nigeria? And what can be done to reverse the trends? I am Adeola Komi Akere. The Presidential Health Reform Committee this Monday began a 2-day retreat focusing on the development and implementation of a health sector reform program for Nigeria. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
Terms of reference of the Presidential Health Reform Committee include development and implementation of a health sector reform program for Nigeria in collaboration with state governments and the Federal Capital Territory Administration. Review of all health care reforms adopted in the past 2 decades and factoring the lessons learned into the development of the new health sector reform program. Another is to chart out a health system that best meets the needs of Nigerians in the 21st century, with special emphasis on strengthening primary health care, improving access to health insurance, and establishing a platform that enables the country to better respond to future pandemic.
So any reform without the full participation of the states, of course, will fall short of a national health reform effort. Previous attempts have been made to improve our healthcare system, and we've heard quite a few of that already. But implementation, as we've heard also, has been incomplete, non-systemic, sometimes haphazard. And in fact, sometimes the records of previous attempts have been very kept.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who is heading the committee inaugurated by President Muhammadu Buhari in 2021, says the administration has put the health sector first and is making significant efforts in sustaining the tempo.
This administration also has taken this as a rather serious matter that ought to be addressed fully. And the reasons are quite obvious. Our public health indices have over the years been poor. We are told that by the experts that we have a hybrid disease pattern with high occurrence of both communicable and non-communicable disease.
In the reform program, we can draw lessons from our past and from other countries, especially those in similar socioeconomic level. But we must avoid lamentations and must avoid dwelling on sentiment. They don't get us anywhere. We must realize that what works in one country or another community may have to be modified to work in our own setting.
The foundation being laid by the federal government, coupled with that being laid by the states, the nation, as participants note, will in no distant time achieve the desired healthcare delivery system. In Abuja, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
The federal government has approved the commencement of 14 working day paternity leave for federal civil servants. In a statement signed by the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Folashade Yemieso, says it is in line with the provisions of the Public Service Rules 2021 edition that the computation of all leave shall be based on working days. She said that the request for such leave shall be accompanied by the expected dates of the leavee's EDD report of the officer's wife or evidence of approval of the adoption of a child by the relevant government bodies. The leave must not be more than once in 2 years and for maximum of 4 children. The effective date is 25th November 2022. Moving on now, the National Judicial Council is evolving a contemporary justice system with the use of information communication technology (ICT). This is being done with the introduction of retrofitted courts in some parts of the country. Dele Atumbi of our Judiciary Desk reports.
This is one of the 9 retrofitted courts put in place by the National Judicial Council in some parts of the country. In this court, filing of all court processes, hearing with the appearance of counsel, and delivery of judgment can be done virtually. The retrofitted courts, with the aid of information communication technology, save time and enhance quick dispensation of justice. The retrofitted courtroom at the Supreme Court, at the instance of the National Judicial Council, is set for use. This type of courtroom has equally been replicated at the Court of Appeal in Abuja. The pilot retrofitted courts have been introduced into the administration of criminal and civil cases at the Federal High Court and High Court of the FCT.
To document management, there will be no case of lost files anymore. Everything is captured and replicated in so many places. Look, technology's advantages are just limitless. Like I told you, when we started the first retrofitted court, this one has advanced a little bit, but all the features there that we put in, we didn't even know that COVID was coming. And that was a court that would have, that made nonsense of COVID. Nobody needs to be there and they can come in. So these are, the advantages are numerous.
Inaugurating the retrofitted courtroom at the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Oluka Odiaruola, commended the ingenuity of the National Judicial Council for the introduction of retrofitted courts. Justice Aruola is of the view that the introduction of retrofitted courts in the country's judicial system will equally enhance the quality of judgment.
Justices of the Supreme Court, this is your call to drive to automate our court process and court proceedings, which is a brainchild of the committee of the NJC called the Judicial Information Policy Technology Permit.
The retrofitted courtroom has also eliminated the laborious long handwriting of court proceedings by the judicial officers. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
After Annie Daniels witnessed several times how a mother prevented her young daughter from committing suicide and the reason for attempting suicide, she decided to dig further to know if there are others with such tendencies and was shocked at her findings.
The Third Mainland Bridge is the longest out of the 3 bridges that link the mainland to the island axis of Lagos. The about 11.8 kilometer in length bridge offers pedestrians the opportunity to appreciate the Lagos Lagoon at a glance. The Third Mainland Bridge in recent times has been in the news for the wrong reasons, because people come from far and near to commit suicide here. They plunge themselves into the lagoon. For instance, this was the same spot from where Orwell Orji some years back plunged himself into the lagoon.
That place is very easy for them to commit it. They know the more they fall into that water, no rescue, they will go.
So if the water goddess is calling them, or they are dragging themselves to the water goddess, it's just, there's a propelling factor, which means there's a spiritual inclination to it.
And if you're shocked at that, then wait and listen to these undergraduates' confessions.
Actually thought of it one time like that before I got admission, because I was actually fed up of everything, like trying to put in for admission and it was not working out.
I fallen into when I'm in a state of depression. That is when I lost money. I was trading forex and I lost money. Like that day I wanted to increase.
Some blame the trend on the society's social structure that has been stripped of social bonding it used to enjoy, with more people becoming individualistic in nature. Family support has reduced, genetic underpinning and care for those with mental health challenges has become inadequate.
Everybody is scared to move with people because you don't know who is who.
If you don't take care of your mental health, everything you are doing is nonsense. And that's why we say there is no health without mental health.
But does suicide actually have spiritual undertone?
Yes. God said in the Holy Quran as well that وَإِذَا نَزْغُ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ نَزْغُ فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ. The devil always inspires into people's mind. That's one of the instruments of the devil. It will inspire you to commit an evil. Killing oneself is an evil act in Islam.
Almost all the time you are having two sets of thoughts in your mind. Something is telling you something is motivating you, and if you are under the wrong kind of influence, you can hear the wrong kind of voice that may encourage you or persuade you to do what you shouldn't do.
So what's the way out, especially for the younger generation?
My advice to stakeholders is to further encourage specialization in mental health. We have, as it is now, we have an average of 1 psychiatrist to 1 million Nigerians.
My encouragement, my advice to most people is to resist that voice that wants to push you to damnation and condemnation.
You should say, you seek God's protection from that bad inspirations you've had.
My respondents all agree that suicide can be prevented by creating more awareness on its impact, especially on family members, and improve monitoring to reduce access to means of suicide, while people should be sympathetic to the plight of others and give support to those in need. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
We'll quickly go on the break now before we rejoin our guest in the studio. We'll be right back.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous. Whether you do it for fun or for political gains, real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
And joining me live in the studio to discuss the rise in cases of suicide and the far-reaching impact on the psyche of survivor is a family life coach, Hetty Olutu. Nice to have you join us on Panorama.
Thank you very much.
Okay, now suicide is said to be the fourth largest cause of death worldwide, and Nigeria is not left out, in this outlet trend. Why are we seeing a rise in the cases?
Well, because the suicide rise in Nigeria can first of all be likened to the harsh economic condition in our nation. So much difficulty, so much economic crunch, and so much failures. A lot of people have invested so much in some of their businesses, and the expected profits or the expected what they expected to get, they are not getting it. And so it leads to frustration. Our youths are frustrated. Just look at our university undergraduates.
Yeah, from that report.
8 months of sitting at home and resuming. I happen to be in the education sector in University of Lagos. And when the students returned back, many of them were just saying that they were tired. Some were even thinking of committing suicide. Some were like, the pain, the frustration was so bad.
Those who would have graduated.
Those who would have been, yes. Some would have graduated 2 years before. But with the COVID and everything, it brought so much frustration on them. And it's so discouraging. The suicide rate is increasing so much.
So is there a need to be worried about this?
Yeah, there's need to be worried about this because the rate is so alarming. Our younger ones are committing suicide. Even the elders, the older ones are not exempted. You know, even the younger ones committing suicide, we might be surprised that they may be the leaders of Nigeria for tomorrow. They may be the pillars in businesses. They may be the ones that will guide this nation aright. And then taking of their life is like a vacuum being created. And so it's an alarming rate. And we need to be worried about it and show more concern.
Okay, now many have attributed mental health to the rising, cases of suicide. How true is this?
Yeah, the mental health is true, really true, because the emotions, the mental health, they give up, and which affected them mentally. They've not been able to work on themselves to know that no matter the failure, some have even given up due to majorly because of failure. So many things are falling apart now, and they give up so easily because they never believe they have the hope to rise again. Many businesses have folded up in Nigeria, but some are still standing to bring it back. And so we need to work on the mental health positively.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Now, in time past, this suicide thing was not really there. People were not that weak when they fall, the rise.
The rise.
Yes. Would you say it has to do with parental upbringing, that they're not training children of these days well to be able to withstand pressures and challenges?
Yeah. Well, in those days, things were better than now. One, and two, parents are training their children. But we have so many pressures outside. People compete. You want to be better than your neighbor. You want to show off that you have arrived. The rush to make it is what is part of what is causing depression. The youth look at even the elderly people. Oh, we train our children at the same time. This person's children is doing better than my children. It causes mental health for the elderly ones. And we need to encourage our children, making them to be contented with whatever they have, making them to know that they can make it, no matter how many times they fall. And we need to show more love to them too, because everybody's agitated now because of the economic hardship. Any little thing you see a parent snap at a child, every little thing, or maybe the child fails and your neighbor came with first position, while you come in with 20th position, we pay the same school fees. We need to motivate each other.
All right. Based on healthy competition, how can we curb that trend? So to prevent children from thinking of just ending it.
The unhealthy competition, first of all, have to come from the parents. Not making the children, you are the best, you are the best, you are the best. Because it started from the home.
Yeah.
It started from the home where the parents see themselves, oh, Dewale has done better. We did the same thing. Encourage that child. Maybe look at the case of Ben Kelsey. The mother, even when he was sent back from school, the mother was able to encourage him and say, you are the best. She didn't tell him what was written in the paper. We need to encourage the children and stop comparing our children, making them to compete with their loved ones. We need to make them to have self-confidence in themselves, that they are the best and they can do better.
Exactly.
We need to motivate our children. They need this motivation from us parents before they go into the society. When they're well motivated in the house, no matter how they mix up with the society, they're able to stand tall before the society,
exactly,
to resist the pressure from the society.
Okay, thank you, Hetty Olotu, for your thoughts on Panorama today, and I hope that parents have heard and they will work to reduce the statistics that Nigeria contributes to the global society case. Yes. This is Panorama, where we'll move on to other matters. Religious leaders and faith communities have been enjoined to partner with government and play a significant role in ensuring fraternity and harmony in Nigeria. This is because an integrated, peaceful and prosperous nation will not be fully guaranteed if peace does not first reign in local communities and in each of the states. This was the submission of speakers at the 2022 Directorate of Islamic Affairs of the Nigerian Army Training Week in Lagos.
A critical examination of the functions of religion in ensuring peaceful coexistence in Nigeria has continued to dominate discussions in different forums, all geared towards promoting religious tolerance for national unity and development. The Chief of Army Staff represented said the recent happenings in the world, particularly in Nigeria, have shown that terrorism has no religion. To sustain the success achieved by the Nigerian Army, the Chief of Army Staff noted that the Army must be better prepared, professionally responsive, motivated, and well-disciplined, devoid of religious inclination.
The Director of Islamic Affairs is to continue to strengthen all distorted facts used by insurgents to brainwash and indoctrinate their recruits. I am glad to note that you have done well so far, and we have started achieving good results in this regard.
The Director of Islamic Affairs, Nigerian Army, admitted that the training became necessary to equip personnel in peace building and peaceful coexistence.
We gather here to deliberate and brainstorm and carry out religious enlightenment using religious teaching, specifically Islamic religious teachings that are contained in the Holy Quran.
Discussing religion as a panacea for peaceful coexistence and security, Professor Abdul Kabir from the Lagos State University agreed that religion can be used as a tool for national development if people, irrespective of their faith and ethnicity, can practice what they preach and learn to tolerate one another.
See yourself as part of him. See yourself as part of her. See yourself as just an indivisible entity. Unification of humanity is very important. Live in peace, there shall be peace everywhere in the world.
The Directorate of Islamic Affairs is perhaps the oldest religious component of the Nigerian Army. It is tasked with providing the spiritual needs of the Muslim officers and soldiers in the Nigerian Army. In Lagos, Ruth Ario Samuel, NTA News.
Olumide Ekutola will give us sports update.
About 11,000 athletes from state of the Federation have their eyes fixed on the first prize as the 21st edition of the National Sports Festival kicks off Wednesday with an opening ceremony at the Stephen Keshi Stadium in Asaba, Delta State. In another news, academics across different fields of study have suggested a review of national policies on sports, safety, security and violence-free schools in Nigeria as part of solution to challenges confronting sports, fitness, wellness and security in Nigerian communities. This was at the annual conference of school health educators at the National Institute for Sports, Lagos.
If all of us can work together and upscale it nationally, it will go a long way to address security challenges.
And from Calabar, Justina 18 reports that the Nigerian Navy is poised to contribute its quota to national sports development through a basketball clinic for boys and girls. The Naval Officers' Wives Association and Annex International is the brain behind the clinic.
This clinic further underscores the determination of moral leadership, not only to provide infrastructural capacity developments, but consciously empower our young minds.
In the meantime, the Chief of Army Staff, Nigerian Army, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, as flagged off the Nigerian Army Inter-Formation Combat Platoon Swimming Championship at the swimming pool of the National Stadium, Surulere, Lagos. Represented by the Corps Commander, Nigerian Army Engineers, Major General Kamil Kadiri, the Chief of Army Staff noted that.
And that's Panorama for today. Thank you for being a part of it. To be a star, stay connected with the NTA to stand against rape and rapists. I am Adeola Kominyakere. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you.